Alex Hormozi style content is dead. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through 13 different styles of content that you can make instead. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to talk to you not just about the styles themselves, but what to do with them, how to kind of put them together and design a strategy around them. And I'll also talk about why I think Alex Hormozi style content is dead. But before we get there, let's jump in. I'll show you these 13 styles. So the first style is talking head style. And I know I just said that Hormozi style is dead, but my point here is that people get so fixated on the design itself. Oh, is Hormozi using the bold font or Montserrat? It's kind of crazy that like everybody copied the exact same font that he uses. And I'm guilty of that too. And the exact angles that he uses and the colors. There was a period where that actually mattered, I think. That was novel enough that people were tuning in because the content was kind of like visual candy. It was tantalizing. It gave us kind of this short sugar rush. But people are burnt out on that now. They've seen it a million times, and they're not going to tune in just because there's cool design. They want a message that's worth listening to. I always tell my clients, message over medium. Focus on the message itself, and then the medium, which is the design and the platform, all that stuff, that can all change. We can test that. We can do all the styles. But we have to start with a message worth listening to. And once you have that, then, yeah, do whatever you want. Do loud captions, no captions. Lots of B-roll, no B-roll. So with some of my clients, we just do very simple. Other times we'll mix it up a little bit, but we'll just do maybe different font weights. We'll have a thin font and then a heavy font, but not all the different colors. One of my favorite styles we've started borrowing from Rob Dyrdek lately, which is just like this. It's just very basic captions, but bold. And I don't know, it looks really clean and elegant to me. But the point there is don't focus on the style, just focus on talking to the camera and providing value to your audience. 2,000 years ago in Greece, people used to get up in the amphitheater and speak to crowds. And today, social media is our amphitheater. This is our town square. Designs might come and go, but looking someone in the eye and talking to them and communicating, sharing a message, educating, inspiring, that's never going to go out of style. The next kind of content is podcast style content. So for some of my clients, we'll do our regular filming session where we're looking into the camera and talking to the client. And then we'll do a part of the session where literally we just kind of like look off camera like this and we're still having the same conversation, but it looks like I'm being interviewed by somebody off camera. And I like doing this because A, it just visually mixes things up in your feed where not every video is exactly the same. But also I think there's kind of a psychological component to it where it gives you social proof that it looks like you're being interviewed by somebody else. You have enough clout and enough importance to be interviewed. But also, if I'm scrolling on my phone, I think a lot of times I do want to make eye contact with you. I think humans are designed to make eye contact. When we look at somebody, we have a connection there, we establish rapport. So usually I prefer to do that. But occasionally, if I'm sitting on the couch, maybe I don't want to make eye contact with somebody. I don't want to be seen or to be in a conversation with somebody. I want to be in the sidelines. I want to just be vegging out, just kind of mindlessly scrolling. So if I can watch a piece of content where I'm not being brought into the conversation, I'm not being talked to, I'm an impartial observer, it's like lower stress, lower barrier to entry. It's easy to ask me to watch that video. So just something to test with your content. Another style is Selfie Style. So the filming software that we use, it's called Riverside, and usually we use it on our computer. But it also has a mobile app. So sometimes I'll have my clients just open up their phone and we'll just do a session where they're literally just holding their phone out and I'm still interviewing them. But it kind of feels like, from the viewer's perspective, hey, as the speaker, I had an idea and I just wanted to get out my phone and share it with you really quick. So I think it's really great for kind of like being personable and establishing that connection. Also, since your hand is not perfectly steady, there's a little bit of movement already incorporated in that video. So we don't need to add as many effects and things to make it visually stimulating. There's already a little bit of activity on the camera itself. Another variation of that are walk and talk videos. So you can just hold up your phone and go for a walk and talk into the camera. Once again, I think that makes a cool dynamic where there's activity, it's visually interesting, and it's not like, hey, I'm in a professional studio, I'm trying to talk to you, I might be marketing to you right now. It's like, hey, I'm just out for a walk and I just wanted to share an idea with you. One cool thing about doing this as an interview is that it can be super awkward to film in public because you think everybody's looking at you. Oh, who's this guy? He thinks he's an influencer. But when you do it as a filming session and you're just being interviewed, it's no longer, hey, I'm an influencer. It's, I'm just a guy, having a video call with my friend. So all of a sudden it takes all the stress out of it. It takes all the awkwardness out of it. It makes it super easy to do. Another kind of content are swipe videos. So this is where there's two slides. The first is just an image with a big headline and a picture. And then when you swipe, the video automatically plays. So I know I'm a broken record here, but one reason why I like that is that visually it's different. It changes up your feed. You get to use a real big headline. It's a little better at grabbing people's attention, but also I think that it works because I have to opt into it. So if I'm scrolling and a video automatically plays, I'm passive in that. You decided to start speaking to me. But when I swipe, I'm making a decision to start that video. And now since it was my idea to start the video, I'm a little bit more invested in it, and I probably want to stick around longer to the end to complete that decision. So I really like making that style of content. Another one is green screen style. This is just where you remove your background and you have something behind you. So there's a lot of ways to do this. Sometimes I'll show an article to my client and I'll just show them like the headline, and then I'll scroll through it and I'll show them a couple key phrases and they just kind of react to it. So, hey, something happened in the news or some big breakthrough just happened, and then they'll react to it, and then we have that scrolling behind them. As they're talking, they'll highlight things so that the viewer will stop and they want to kind of zoom in and read that for themselves. So it's good for retention. It's good for making people watch the video multiple times. Another way that I'll do it is to show my clients comments from their viewers. So we'll post one video, and then if it gets a lot of comments, I'll show them that, and I go, hey, did you see what the Duke of Debonairness said? And then you can react to it. And now you can kind of get like these chains of videos going where there's the video, and then there's you reacting to the comments, and then people comment on you reacting, you can react to that. It's a cool way to keep the conversation going and to create social media that's social. If you don't have a lot of comments on your own, you can do that with other people. With this client, I showed him a video of The Rock that had a ton of engagement, and he got to give his 2 cents. And now he got to piggyback off of the attention of The Rock. In a similar vein, one thing I like doing is what I call change my mind videos. So we'll post a static image that is designed to not necessarily be controversial, but just to get people talking. So like this one, this is a fitness client of mine. It's unfair to blame your fitness on your kids. And then people are going to pile in there and, oh my gosh, how could you say that? Or I totally agree. And then in our next filming session, our client will say, hey, I posted this video and you won't believe what the comments said. And then we'll read through them and then we'll have that behind the client. A similar idea is Reacts style. So I'll find clips and I'll just show it to my clients. They watch it and then they react to it. So the beginning of the video on the bottom usually is someone else, like this is Jason Momoa or Tony Robbins. And then after 10 seconds, 15 seconds, my client will step in and then they'll give their 2 cents about what we just learned. I like this for a couple reasons. One, think about your friends who are always sending you memes. This is almost like, hey, I found this thing that's really cool. It's worth you looking at. I want to share it with you. Also, I actually like running this as ads for myself. So nobody knows who I am. If I show up in your feed, people are like, who's this random bald guy? But if I do a video with Tony Robbins, all of a sudden, if you're a Tony Robbins fan, it makes sense why it would be in your feed. So Tony Robbins is kind of a Trojan horse that is going to bring me and introduce me to his audience. And then anybody who watches that video, they know who I am now, and we retarget with more content. We also do this with memes. I'll just share a funny meme with my client, and then they react to it. I also like doing Q&A videos. We'll do one video, and we'll say, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Then I'll go screenshot all of those. I'll show them to my clients, and then they give their answers. And then after a few cycles of that, it's pretty cool because your audience learns, hey, I actually do want to leave a comment because I'm going to see the response. So it's a fun way to train your audience to engage more. Another style of content that you can make are testimonials. So just interview your clients and then chop that up and share that on social media. I know it's obnoxious doing testimonials. Everyone knows they need to do it, but nobody actually does it. So we do that for our clients. A lot of times the clients will introduce their clients to us, and then we'll interview them, and then we'll turn it into the content and then anything else the client needs to do with those testimonials. If you don't have video testimonials, what I like doing is getting written ones. I'll just show the text of the testimonial to the client, and then we'll do a few different things. One, like this one, we'll have a screenshot just of the testimonial, and then she summarizes the testimonial and she gives her feedback to it. With these ones, we actually have the testimonial scrolling behind her. And in one of these, she's just talking about it. Another one, she's actually reading it herself. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can have the client read it or don't read it. You can have it behind you scrolling so that the viewer can pause it and they can read it themselves, or just have it on screen. There's a lot of different ways to mix it up, but testimonials can make for great content. Another style is one-man show videos. So in this style, I'm kind of acting out a skit and I'm playing both characters. So it's going back and forth. They're fun to do, but they're a ton of work. It might be fun every once in a while to do one. Usually I think it's too much work than what it's worth, but it's a fun way to be a little extra creative and grab people's attention. One thing that we found with a lot of our clients is we'll track their Instagram insights. So on Instagram, if you open up any post, there's a button that says View Insights. If you click on that, it'll give you a graph of how many non-followers consume that piece of content versus followers. We compile all of that data every month for our clients, and then we'll pick out the top 5 posts in each category, and we ask ourselves, why did that do so well? How can we keep doing more of that? How can we dig down deeper into those subjects? One thing that we found is that a lot of times Reels do really well for non-followers, but repurposed content does better for existing followers. So we'll transcribe every video, and then we turn that text into carousels or long text posts or stories or quote images or tweets. We just want to maximize the content that our clients create. But one thing that we do is we can take those tweets and we actually turn it into a video. And now we get to kind of double dip. It's content that does really well for your existing followers, but it'll still show up in stories. It'll show up in Reels. You can also use it on TikTok, whereas you can't post static images. So it's really awesome kind of dual purpose content. You can also take that quote and animate it like this. So those are 13 styles of content that you can make instead of Alex Hormozi style content. I told you at the beginning I was going to talk about how to put all those styles together and how to build kind of a strategy around them. So I feel like there was a period where short form was taking off so much that that's all people focused on was just short form content, because it was kind of like, homesteading. It was like the land grab, people running out to stake their claim. And the reason why that was happening was because all the platforms were competing with TikTok. So if you made content that competed with TikTok, they would shower you with tons and tons of views. But the algorithms have slowed down in rewarding you like that. And there's just been such a massive influx into that style of content that that's no longer novel. It doesn't stand out anymore. So now don't focus on the style of content as much. I mentioned before, focus on the medium. But even more than that, focus on building what I call a content web. So in the past, people might have watched one reel from you and then that led to business, but that's not the case anymore. Now, somebody wants to watch an ad and then they're going to watch a reel. Then they'll watch another one, and then they're going to swipe through some of your carousels. And then your carousel might send them to a YouTube video. And then they watch a long form video, and then they watch another one and another one. And now pretty soon they've spent hours with you virtually, and they see you as an expert, and now they're ready to take that next step. There's a business coach named Dan Bolton, who I look up to a ton, and he was talking about the time that it takes to heat up a prospect. And people used to think about that in terms of days or weeks or years. Really, it's just total face time. It's how much time somebody has spent watching you on social media, learning from you, hearing your voice, and seeing you as an expert. So let's say it takes somebody an hour of consuming our content to see us as an expert. If I drip out one reel a day, it'll take 60 days to get over that mark. But what if my reel leads to a carousel, which leads to YouTube, and then they binge a few YouTube videos? We might be able to get over that hour threshold today. So that's why I think it's really important to use all of these styles of content and to tie them together. There's actually a number of strategies that I use to deliberately link them together so that it's totally natural when you watch one, you have to go watch another piece of content. Or when you learn one thing, you have to go look for the next part somewhere else. I have another video that shows you exactly how to do that. It's linked below, or probably on this video somewhere. So if you want to learn how to do that, how to build a content web for yourself, go find that video. If you learned a style of content today that you're going to use for yourself, hit that thumbs up button below. And if you want more content like this, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.